Hello and welcome to today's presentation. We're here today to talk about everything you need to know to be prepared for fall quarter at Walla Walla University. Over the last few weeks, we've gone over the ins and outs of living on our campus and gone through the steps of the financial clearance process. If you happen to miss out on any of those presentations or would like to review some of that information, you can find recordings for both of these at wallawalla.edu/workshops. Again, that's wallawalla.edu/workshops. My name is Trevor Congleton, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Marketing and Enrollment Services. I'm here to introduce our subject experts and help answer any questions you may have along the way. Today, we've got several experts with us. The first is Gracia Castillo, one of our residence hall deans, to talk about student life and housing. The second is Carrie Butler, one of our financial aid advisors, who will be talking about finances and student employment. And last but certainly not least, we've got Jacob Roney, who's one of our recruiters. Is here to make sure that our panel covers the questions he hears most often from new students and their families. At any time during this presentation, if you have a question, you can ask it by typing it in the chat box. We will get to all of your questions at the end of this presentation, which should take roughly about 25 to 30 minutes. If you'd like to download the slides that we'll be covering in this presentation, you can download them through the panel link on the right side of your screen. Jacob, why don't you get us started with tonight's presentation?
All right. We're going to get started with talking about our MyWWU. You've probably already had some interactions with this, but it's a pretty important site, so I want to make sure that everyone is on the same page. MyWWU is our online student portal where you can see your classes, your account balance, information about financial aid, account transactions, your grades, and how much you spent at the cafeteria or express. This is also where you'll begin the financial process and where you finalize registration during Jumpstart. Right now, the most important thing for you is to pay attention to your to-do list. You can access this list in MyWoo, and it notes the things that you have left to complete before the school year begins. You can click on each item for more information, and there are usually some instructions for how to better complete the task. As soon as you were accepted, you received login instructions for MyWWU and were asked to choose a password. If you never logged in, you'll find it's actually pretty easy. For most of you, your username will be your first, last, and whatever password you chose. So sorry. If you have problems logging in, have never created a password, or can't remember the password you picked, you may contact the IT help desk by phone or email. You can send them an email, but make sure to include your name, Walla Walla University ID number, and your phone number in case they need to call you back. Parents, the help desk will only talk to the students about their account information, so if you need assistance, they will need to be the ones that actually make the call. All students are given a Walla Walla University email, which is wallawalla.edu email address, and it's important that they check it regularly. You'll receive a lot of important emails to that email address. Once classes begin, this is the only email address the university will send emails to. One thing you might be seeing on your to-do list now is financial clearance. Carrie, can you recap a little bit about financial clearance and what families should be working on right now in terms of finances?
Sure, Jacob. If you haven't finished your financial aid application, you should do that immediately. Right now, we can send a financial plan within days of receiving your application, but as we get closer to starting school, the delay in getting an aid package to you increases. If we're missing anything from you for this process, it will be on the to-do list that Jacob just mentioned. If you have questions about financial clearance, I recommend watching a recording of the presentation we did last week about the process. We cover everything in detail there, but to quickly review, financial clearance is a process that all students go through each quarter. It checks to make sure that you've made your down payment and completed any necessary forms for financial aid. The process is open right now for fall quarter, so if you haven't completed it yet, now's a good time to do it. It's a straightforward process and it shouldn't take much time. The first time will take a little longer because most students will have loan forms to complete and permissions to review. But after you make your down payment It's about a 90-second process. The deadline to complete financial clearance is 4 p.m. on the Wednesday before classes begin. If you have not completed financial clearance by then, you will be dropped from your classes. You can always register for classes again, but the class you want may have been filled from the waiting list in the meantime. You can know for sure that you're done with financial clearance when you see Bouncing Ben, and when you see him, you can be confident that your classes are protected from dropping. Now, once you've registered for classes and completed financial clearance, you are eligible to get your ID card. Freshmen will get their ID cards during the week of Jumpstart, and you will need proof of identity, such as a driver's license, to get an ID card. Once your ID card is activated, which will happen after you've completed registration finalization, you can use it to charge meals in the cafeteria, books and supplies from the bookstore, and treats at the Express, a small mini mart and gas station. You will also use your ID card to access dorm rooms and buildings such as the gym and library, and it's also great for getting student discounts at places around town.
Something else you might be seeing on your to-do list right now, and something that you can work on, is the tuberculosis or TB screening form. Simply filling this form out, will allow you to know whether or not you need to get a TB test completed before school start. The form consists of 6 questions and has step-by-step instructions. We encourage students who are identified by the screening to need further evaluations to be seen by their primary care provider and have the form completed prior to coming to Walla Walla University. Students are required to have health insurance that students are able to access within the local area of Walla Walla University. This is actually a federal law. Walla Walla University does not offer health insurance policies for you as students to purchase. There are some resources and links, though, to the health exchange available on our website. You'll want to make sure your insurance care provider provides within 25 miles of Walla Walla University or whichever campus your student is on. International students are automatically signed up for a health insurance plan when they come to Walla Walla University that will provide care for them in the local area. In terms of vaccines, WWU recommends that individuals receive both the MMR and meningococcal vaccines. The MMR vaccine protects against measles, rubella, and mumps, and is recommended by the CDC for students attending post-high school educational institutions who do not already have a presumptive immunization. Meningococcal diseases require close contact to spread, so it is a concern on college campuses since many of our students live closely to one another. Both of these immunizations are recommended from Walla Walla University, but are optional for students. Be aware that some WWU programs, such as nursing and education, may have specific immunization requirements related to their work with external organizations. So, if you are going to be in one of these programs, you may want to check with your program to see what their specific requirements are. Right now, many of our students may be looking about finding a job on campus. Carrie, could you tell me a little bit more about student work on campus?
I'd be glad to, Jacob. Just to go through what a student should do to find a job. I'll go over those steps with you, but keep in mind that many students don't get a job until they arrive for Jumpstart, so don't panic if you don't have a job yet. Many employers wait to see what your class schedule is and the class schedule of returning employees before they commit to new hires. But there are a few things you can do right now to get ready, and the first thing is to complete an online job application. This will be the first step for any on-campus job, and the same application can be used for any job you find. You don't need to complete a new application for each job on campus. Watch the job scene, our online job listing, to check for available jobs. And if you see any that are interesting to you, contact the department and let them know. You can also contact our office, have us forward a copy of the application you've already filled out. Once you have a job, there is some paperwork to complete, and all students will need to complete an I-9 form. This is used to confirm your identity as well as your eligibility to work. So when you're packing to come to school, make sure you have some form of ID, such as a driver's license. You'll also need a document that proves you are eligible for work, and this could be a birth certificate or a Social Security card. If you have a valid U.S. passport, that can be used for both requirements, and these need to be original documents. We can't use a photocopy. You will need to complete a W-4 form, and that tells us how many exemptions you are claiming for tax purposes. You will also need to provide your bank account information. We require either a voided check or a screen print of your bank account and routing number from your online banking profile. If you are under 18, your parent will need to sign a form authorizing you to work. And if you are an international student, you are only eligible to work at a WWU campus job, and you'll need to file for a Social Security card, which can take up to a month to receive. So as you are looking at potential jobs, be sure to keep this in mind. You can find all the details about working on campus at wallawalla.edu/student-employment. You may notice on JobScene that some jobs are listed as work-study jobs. Walla Walla U participates in 2 work-study programs. One is offered by the U.S. federal government and one by the state of Washington. Only students with a work-study award in their financial aid package are eligible for these positions. For the Washington State Work-Study Program, you must be a Washington State resident. In a work-study job, the employer receives funds from the government to help pay student wages, and this has helped expand the number of jobs available. All of our on-campus jobs are open to all full-time students. The work-study eligibility requirements are for off-campus jobs that are listed as work-study. Students are paid every other week, and the first time you get paid, or any time you change your bank account information, your wages will get applied to your student account. And this is because the payroll system is sending a test message to your bank to confirm the bank account information. Every payday after that, your paycheck will be automatically deposited into your bank account. However, if you want all or some of your paycheck to be applied to your student account, you can certainly set that up with the Student Employment Office.
Carrie, speaking of student wages, can you remind us about Bank Mobile and how students interact with it?
Sure. Bank Mobile is the bank we use to disperse funds from your student account to you. After you go through the financial clearance process, you'll get a green envelope from Bank Mobile, as well as an email reminder asking you to set up your disbursement method. And they'll want to know if you want disbursements sent as a paper check, deposited into an existing bank account, or do you want to open a Bank Mobile Vibe checking account? And we recommend that you choose to deposit the disbursement into an existing bank account. An example of when you would request a disbursement might be when that first paycheck has been applied to your student account. And if you want that money in your bank account instead, you could request those funds and they would be dispersed to you through whatever Bank Mobile process you've chosen.
Gracia, would you like to tell us about Jumpstart and when students move into the residential halls? Also, by the way, 2 weeks ago, we had a full presentation about residential housing. So if you have questions at the end of this, I would definitely recommend going back to watch that recording at wallawalla.edu/workshops for a lot of helpful information.
Yeah, thank you, Jacob. So Jumpstart is a required week of orientation for all new freshmen and transfer students. During this week, students get the chance to worship together, get to know each other, attend helpful presentations, and take care of tasks such as financial clearance, lining up a job, and meeting with their academic advisors. The fee for Jumpstart includes all your meals and lodging for the week, as well as a guidebook for the week and 1 hour of college credit. All students should bring a mobile device like a smartphone, iPad, or laptop for use during the sessions you'll be attending. So we will start allowing students to move into the residence hall on that Sunday for Jumpstart. You'll be able to schedule your move-in appointment through Housing Cloud starting September 12th. Also on September 21st, day of Jumpstart, a number of key offices around campus will be open to assist you and your parents in checking off the last items on your to-do list. A lot of students and family asks when they can buy their textbooks, but we could recommend students wait until after they've met with their academic advisor during the Jumpstart week to purchase their books. You can also log into the bookstore's website to see what textbooks you'll be needing if you've already signed up for classes. Their website is wallawalla.slingshot.edu, or you can search for bookstore on our Walla Walla page. All right, for housing, if you haven't made housing arrangements and you're planning to be in the residence hall, you should fill out the residence hall housing application online. Of course, you have to be accepted and also pay your enrollment fee before you can select a room. And if you don't have plans of living in the residence hall, you'll need to complete what's called a village housing form that tells us where you'll be living. As a general rule, we expect our incoming freshmen to live in the residence halls unless they meet one of the exceptions listed on the screen there. If you are eligible to live outside the residence halls and have not applied for housing, please complete an online application at wallawalla.edu/village. So as you can see at the bottom there, we sometimes do get questions about emergencies and how Walla Walla communicates with the students. So all of our students are automatically enrolled in a system called OmniAlert. This is our emergency campus alert system. So in case of an emergency, students will receive alerts via text messages and emails. And on top of that, there's a campus siren that will sound. You can find more information about the system at wallawalla.edu/OmniAlert. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about our move-in process and what that will look like. This is definitely one of my favorite times of the year because our residence hall staff has been working so much and put so many hours into making sure that this is a nice and fun and smooth transition. So to provide you with the best possible check-in experience, we require that students sign up for a check-in appointment. On the day of your appointment, please arrive at the designated check-in area on time. So residence hall staff will greet you and assist you in filling out housing documents. And then once you're checked in, you're able to move in and have your parents or whoever's helping you move in as well. Please arrive at the time you sign up for to ensure that the process moves smoothly. And then additional move information such as maps or designated check-in areas or short-term, long-term parking can also be found on the website. If you do have any questions about this, just drop them in the chat box and we'll answer them at the end. We'll be sending out more detailed information as we get closer to move-in day.
Most of our incoming freshmen and transfer students are already registered for classes and can see their classes in their MyWWU. If you are not yet signed up for classes, be sure to book an appointment with academic advising at wallawalla.edu/get-my-classes. If you've signed up for classes, but they aren't showing up in your MyWWU, make sure that you've paid your enrollment fee. If you've paid that fee but haven't seen your classes yet, please be sure to contact our academic advisement office and give them a call and we'll be able to help you out. If you want to make changes to your classes, you can call the academic advisement office or you can wait until Jumpstart when you'll be able to meet with your academic advisor. This is actually a great time to make these changes. All students are assigned a departmental academic advisor during Jumpstart, and the appointment will be set up for you during Jumpstart week. Mentors are another great resource for our students. We have a mentoring program that focuses on individualized support and encouraging students to transition from high school to college. Mentors assist in helping students take ownership and responsibility for their college education and career goals. Mentors are trained to provide a curriculum that encourages a balanced experience of academic, spiritual, and social life. You get to choose your mentor Jumpstart week, and during the rest of your freshman year, you meet with them weekly to talk about how classes are going, the deadlines that you have coming up, where your academic goals are, and what campus or community resources might be beneficial for your success. Students who have gone through this program tell us that having a mentor helps them feel connected and supported. We have found that freshmen who regularly meet with a mentor are more likely to stay in college, they get more out of their classes, and have had a better college experience overall. Also during Jumpstart Week, you go through the process called registration finalization. This is the final review process that you can access on MyWWU and ensures that you've done everything needed to become a student at Walla Walla University. This process checks to make sure that you've completed financial clearance, been assigned to classes, and met with your academic advisor. When you've completed this process, you'll see Jumping Einstein, which you can see on the screen. This indicates that you've finalized your enrollment and your ID card is now electronically validated for charging. This also means that you'll be able to sign up for campus clubs. You won't actually be able to see the Jumping Einstein until the first day of Jumpstart, even if you really wanted to. During that Jumpstart week, after you met your advisor and completed all remaining items in your to-do list, you'll be able to finalize registration and see Jumping Einstein on your own.
After Jumpstart is over and we move into the school year, parents often want to know information about their student and usually what their account balance is and what their grades are. However, the university cannot share this kind of information with anyone except you, the student. There's a federal law called the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which is more commonly known as FERPA, and this law applies to a student and begins on the first day of classes. So through Sunday, prior to the first day of classes, we can talk to parents. However, once classes start, we will need to have the student's permission to speak with parents. And of course, we will be very careful what information we share prior to classes starting. This law applies to all areas of campus, but it's with finances that most parents run into FERPA. If you're the student, we'll need to have your permission before we can talk to your parent about your account. And we also have to have your permission before we can mail a paper statement to your parent. It's easy for you to grant permission. On MyWWU, you can tell us who we can talk to, who we should mail a statement to, who we should send email reminders to, and who we should not talk to. You can also choose to have statements mailed to multiple people, and you can also authorize other users to see electronic statements. FERPA is the reason that a parent can't call our IT department to reset your MyWWU password. And because of FERPA, the help desk can only reset the password if you, the student, contacts them. If a parent wants to see your grades, they have to get them from you. Walla Walla U doesn't mail grade reports to you or your parents, and you will be able to see your grades on MyWWU as soon as the teacher has submitted a grade. You get to see them the same time that we get to see them.
That is very helpful, Carrie. Thank you. That brings us to basically the end of the topics that we've planned to cover today. We have a complete list of steps to enrollment that you can follow to make sure you've done everything you needed to do for this fall. That list can be found at wallawalla.edu/new steps. This list will give you general instruction on how to complete each step. And if you have any questions, you can always call our office and we're happy to help. Also, don't forget to check your to-do lists in MyWWU, your email, and actively make sure that you're following along.
All right. Thank you for all of that great information, Jacob, Gracie, and Carrie. Okay, we're almost ready to start taking some questions that you guys have been asking, but feel free to keep putting them in the chat box and we will answer all of your questions before we close out the presentation. But before we get to that, I want to point out some important dates for everyone to keep in mind. As Gracie mentioned earlier, the residence halls will be open for move-in by appointment on Sunday, September 21st. Jumpstart begins on that same day and will go until Friday, September 26th. This is an important week of orientation for all new first-time college students, and it's honestly a lot of fun. All incoming freshmen are required to attend that week. Then by Wednesday, September 24th at 4 p.m., you You should have paid your down payment, completed any necessary paperwork for student loans, and signed your financial clearance online. Student Financial Services has already sent you an email on what you need to do. These emails went primarily to the incoming students' email inbox, so students be sure that you're checking your emails regularly. We also gave a presentation 1 week ago walking you through the process of financial clearance step by step, and there's a recording of that presentation at wallawalla.edu/workshop. So we've already sent links and stuff, so you guys have heard that already. Then Thursday afternoon on September 29th through Friday morning, September 26th, there'll be a special transfer student orientation session. So if you're a transfer student, have already attended another college after high school graduation, and are coming to Walla Walla, you want to make sure that you've put that on your calendar. So again, that's Thursday afternoon, September 29th through Friday morning, September 26th. Our academic advisement office will be sending out information about this to transfer students as it gets closer. So if you're coming in as a transfer student to WWU, plan on being here during those 2 days. Then by Sunday, September 24, you should have completed your registration finalization, seen Jumping Einstein, and purchased textbooks. Actually, wait, I think I said September 24th. That's actually September 28th, just to be clear. And then on Monday, September 29th, you begin your college education at Walla Walla University. On the screen now, we've got some phone numbers that'll be popping up here in just a second. There they are, that you'll find helpful if you have any questions after this presentation and between now and the start of the school year or Jumpstart. I'd say out of all those, the most important one you can keep is that top number that's highlighted in yellow. That's the main line to the university. A real person will answer it. They'll help direct you to the right location as long as you know what you need that you have a question on. They can help you get there. So that's 800-541-8900, probably the most important one. And that's staff from 8 to 5, Monday through Thursday, and then 8 to noon on Fridays. All right, let's go ahead and open this up to the question and answer portion. Like I mentioned earlier, make sure that you're typing your questions into the chat box on the right side of your screen, and we'll get to all of them in a moment. Okay, the first question is, and I think it's going to be for you, Carrie, is you mentioned we can use student ID cards at the Express. What is the Express, and is it connected to students' meal plans or their flex dollars?
Okay, the Express is a Shell station and a mini mart owned by Walla Walla University. You can use your student ID card to charge up to $80 a month there to your student account. You can buy gas, snack food, you can order something from the vegetarian grill, but you cannot use your meal plan or your flex dollars there. But however, you can track your spending, your total spending on My WWU.
Thanks, Carrie. Next one, I think I'm going to give to Jacob. Jacob, are new students required to have a mentor?
Great question. So yes, both freshmen and transfers are required to have a mentor. Our studies actually show, there's quite a few different studies out there that show that having a mentor helps student success at Walla Walla specifically. We've also noticed that the people that often don't want the mentors often benefit the most from them. I personally had a mentor and I loved it. It was really helpful, especially my freshman year.
Awesome. Very cool. Let's see. Next one, I think this is back to you, Carrie. It says, I'm from Canada. Am I allowed to work on campus, or can I get a job off campus? How does that work?
Yes, as long as you have a student visa, you can work on campus. If you're not a U.S. resident, you aren't eligible to work off campus. Before you start work, you'll need to have a U.S. Social Security card, and that can take about a month to receive.
Great. Next question, I think I'm going to give this one to Gracia. It says, I'm coming to WWU from far away. When am I allowed to move into the residence hall?
Yeah, so definitely you can move in starting September 19th, which is the Friday before Jumpstart begins. And then I did drop a link there. If you're arriving September 19th and you're over 400 miles away, we have what's called our early arrival request form, just to let us know that you are planning to arrive there early, and then you'll get an email with more information from that.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. So just look in the chat box. You'll see that Gracia put that up there. So if you're from outside of 400 miles, you're allowed to move in earlier. Like she said, just make sure you let us know when you're coming so they can make sure your room's all ready to go. Okay. Another question is, let's see. I did concurrent credit classes in high school. When is the deadline to have the transcript sent in? That one I will go ahead and take. We want those as soon as we can get them from your college that you took classes. that you're receiving college credit for, so we can add that onto your transcript here at Walla University to see what classes we should be advising you to get into and what classes you have. So you can send those to transcripts@wallawalla.edu. Again, that's transcripts@wallawalla.edu, and get those in as soon as you can. It'll just make things a lot easier for you. Okay, let's see. Looks like we're getting close to the end of our questions. If you have any questions that you'd like to be asked, make sure you put them in. I got a couple more here. Good. I'm going to mark these ones and put them in the question area. Just a second. I have to do some manual moving of them. Okay. Next one is regarding work on campus. When should I file for Social Security number as an international student? I'll take this one as well. For international students, in order for you to file for a Social Security card, you have to fill out some specific paperwork as well as have a job lined up. So I'd say you want to probably, when you show up for school for Jumpstart, good time to look for jobs, good time to start that process. We have a student employment office run by a wonderful lady named Heidi Lindstrom. She will be very helpful. She works in our student financial services office. She can help walk you through what you need to do. You also have to make an appointment at a local Social Security office. There's one in town. So yeah, there's a couple steps you have to go through to do it, but I'd say once you get here, that should give you plenty of time. Okay, question I think for Gracia. If we move in earlier than the 19th, do we need to pay?
So if you are moving, if you live over the 400 miles, you are not paying for that early arrival on the 19th. But if you do live within the 400 miles, we do have a charge per day. But if it's some emergency or case by case, you can email us at residence halls, and then we can talk about it. Yeah.
And then Gracie, I'm going to have you stick around because I think the next question is also going to be for you as well. And that question is, I'm planning to live with my parents in town. How do I submit the waiver form?
Yeah, so if you do, I was trying to see if I could get you a link here, but on our website, look on the Walla Walla website, just search Residence Hall Waiver. You can download the form, fill it out, and then you'll email it to housing@wallawalla.edu or to village@wallawalla.edu. Either one of those, they'll just receive it and sign it off for you.
Great. Let's see. Next question. I think this one is going to be for you, Carrie. It said, how is it best to reach out to Student Financial Services to let them know that my student doesn't want to accept the federal direct loans?
Really, just a phone call is fine, or if you want to email, that's okay too. But yeah, just call us and let us know. We'll get the loans canceled. It's that easy.
Perfect. And what's a good email address if they want to use email?
Student.financials@wallawalla.edu would be a good one.
Student.financials@wallawalla.edu. Great. Thank you, Carrie. Let's see. Next one. I'm going to give this one to Jacob. Jacob, is it easy getting to and from Walla Walla Airport without a car?
That is a great question. It is a bit of a drive away. So it's something that a lot of times once the students become students here, a lot of times they'll find friends that can pretty easily take them. It's only like a 15-minute car ride, maybe 15-ish.
Yeah, 10 to 15.
10 to 15. So it's not bad, but it's not something that you could walk to. But that's definitely my recommendation. If you know friends that have cars, definitely start there. It's a good way to do it.
Perfect. Next question looks like it's going to be for Gracia. Gracia, is it possible to see the dorm rooms and bathrooms before we move in?
So at the moment, the dorm is being occupied by our summer residents and our student athletes. So most likely, no. Most of the rooms are being occupied at the moment. But if you do want to request like a tour, you can also go through MES or email us at residence halls. We can take a look at which dorm you're living in and try to give you a little tour. Yeah.
And I think Gracia wants to keep her job, so she won't be able to take any photos in the bathroom.
Yeah, no, definitely not that.
We're gonna pass on that one.
Yeah.
But if you have specific questions, I know Gracia can help you through some of that stuff.
Trevor, can I add something to that?
Go for it.
On the dorm's website or the residential hall website or webpage, there are some like live walkthrough like photos and stuff that you have. So if you want to see what the dorm rooms are like, an example of one, there are quite a few different examples on the website.
Perfect. Hey, Jacob, I got another question for you, so you can stay with me.
Yeah.
How easy is it to find a job on campus?
That's a good question. I think that we kind of touched on this, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time to find. I will say that it kind of depends on what your skills are. There's a lot of different resources, both on the website and then in person. What I always tell my recruits is, if you're really interested in working for somewhere, create a resume and ask is a really good way. I know that ASWU, or the Associated Students of Walla Walla University, also have a lot of jobs and potential for jobs. So that's also a really good resource. But I will say it can take a little bit of determination and some personal connections and trying to go shake hands. But oftentimes even our freshmen will find jobs fairly quickly.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, it kind of really depends on, I think, the students' willingness to apply for jobs and be willing to kind of put themselves out there, contacting people
Definitely.
that have the job posted, dropping off resumes, applications, those kinds of things. I think that it really kind of depends on that. And also on the website, we've got jobs that are on campus. Remember, if you're an international student or a Canadian student, you got to work on campus. But we also list jobs that are in the local area as well that we're made aware of. And so applying for any of those, I think, is a good rule of thumb to try to find work.
Yeah, and for both this one and then for the airport answer, the mentor that you're going to get could be potentially a solution to both of those. So for jobs, they might know of someone that's hiring and might be willing to help connect you. And same with going to the airport. I know that was a few questions ago, but they can oftentimes help you try to find airport rides. So don't underestimate that mentor. It can be a really good resource for you.
Great. Thanks, Jacob. Good answer. Next one, I think, is going to be for Carrie. Carrie, would it be possible to add to my balance on my student account using cash on campus?
Helps to turn on the mic. Okay. Yes, you can stop by the cashier's office if you want to make a payment to your account in cash. That's absolutely possible. Just stop by.
And rather than doing a payment, I think that they're asking is if they wanted to say put $100 on their student account so that they can be proactive, I think. Are they able to do that, or is it only after they get their bill, then they pay it?
Oh, no, you can start making deposits to your account right now. There are some students who will set up recurring payments, and maybe they'll just put $200 on every month and they'll build up some credit. So yeah, that's absolutely possible. Or if you just want to make a one-time payment, mainly you just need to know your last name, which I'm sure you do, and your student ID number, or you can call the cashier's desk and they can help you get that arranged.
Great. Good answer, Carrie. Let's see. We're getting kind of close to the end of the questions. So if you've got a question, make sure you pop it in there and we'll keep answering them. There's a question about lunch on Sunday. So the Sunday of Jumpstart, there actually will be a president's luncheon that'll be happening. That is free for all incoming students and their families. Please be sure to join us. I'm trying to remember the time of that one. Can one of you guys look up the time for that while we're continuing to answer the questions? But that'll be happening. Make sure you're there. It's a good time. You don't have to register for it. If you register for Jumpstart, just show up and you'll be fine. We'll have a good meal together. I'll be there. You can ask me questions, all that kind of stuff. It'll be a lot of fun. We always love it when you guys are all here. Okay, let's see. Speaking of that too, for those that are coming from greater than 400 miles away and are moving in on Friday, there actually will be a special lunch for you guys in the cafeteria. Starting at about 1 o'clock after the university church ends. We'll be providing lunch for any early arrivals for that, since we know that it's hard to get some food. We don't want you to have to go out on Sabbath. You can come to the cafeteria and eat with a lot of our administrators, so it should be a good time. Next question is a resume required for a job or only for some? Technically, I don't think it's required. You fill out a student employment application when you're trying to apply for a job on campus. And that can be sent. I always encourage students that I work with to also fill out a resume, because I think that adds a little extra shine onto your employment application. If you've created one yourself, kind of taking that extra step. So I think that's just another little kind of feather in your cap to try to help in addition to you getting another job. Did anybody find out there's the Jumpstart schedule? Let me look at it.
I was looking. I think it goes up through Sabbath or Saturday. So I don't think it's on the main schedule, and it's not on the main university website. So I would say a TBD likely.
I think on the one that Chris sent, it says 1 to 2 President's Luncheon. So 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock is what it says on that form that he found. So 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. All right. That looks like that brings us to the end of our question and answer period. I first of all want to thank Gracia, Carrie, and Jacob for sharing their expertise with us this evening. And I also want to thank Chris Drake, who you haven't seen. He's been running the presentation in the back behind the scenes. And so he's been doing a great job. So wanted to do a shout out for him. I also want to thank all of you for watching this presentation. I hope it was helpful and that you feel prepared for starting fall quarter at Walla Walla University. And also, I'll mention it one more time. If you miss out on our previous presentations, or if you'd like to watch a recording of this presentation, you can find those at wallawalla.edu/workshops. And this one should be up by Monday or Tuesday of next week. Also, we'd love to have your feedback about today's presentation. When we sign off, please take a moment to take a brief survey at wallawalla.edu/comment. We'd really like to know what you thought and how we can make this presentation better for the participants next time. Again, that's wallawalla.edu/comment. It looks like I got one more question. Gracia, do you mind answering it real fast? My daughter received confirmation of her roommate and room, but then received another email saying she needs a roommate. So it sounds like there might be a little bit of confusion there. Should they just reach out to the residence hall?
Yeah, I was just typing a response to her privately, actually. But yeah, if you could reach out to the residence halls with your daughter's information, student ID and stuff like that, and so we can look into it and give you a response there.
Perfect. Thanks for answering that one. And also, if you think of something you forgot to ask after our presentation ends, just a reminder, you can give us a call at 800-541-8900 or email us at info@wallawalla.edu. We look forward to seeing you on campus in just a few weeks, and we are wishing you and your families all the best. Have a wonderful night. Take care.